I am the supporting character in a tragic novel, the true heiress of a wealthy family who was switched at birth. The real heiress is me, and the one swapped with me is a boy. After gaining self-awareness, I looked at the foster mother in front of me, who couldn't even bother to pretend, and asked sincerely, "Do you know this is illegal?" Hearing my words, Fiona turned to look at me, still not grasping what I was saying. Her eyes filled with unmistakable confusion, watching her puzzled expression. Countless plotlines flashed through my mind once again. The fake young master was the male lead of the novel, meeting and falling in love with the innocent commoner female lead, their bodies and souls entwined, just as they were about to achieve a happy ending after enduring a series of physical and emotional torments. The fake young master's true identity was exposed. The real heiress makes her entrance. The fake young master is humiliated in every way by the real heiress, in his fury and shame. Only the female lead is willing to stay by his side, deepening their bond. Meanwhile, the real heiress, after the couple achieves their happy ending, is harassed by the male lead's biological parents and ultimately meets her end in a car accident. After calmly reading through the entire plot, I couldn't help but feel like rolling my eyes. So, is this my final ending? To be honest, in my 14 years of life, I only recently found out I'm not my parents' biological child. No wonder they wouldn't even let me eat an egg at home. My name is Grass White, given to me by my parents, quite casually at that. Their biological son is named Richard. We were once in the same class, but had no interaction. I only recently found out that our identities had been maliciously swapped. In fact, my adoptive parents weren't poor. They even had respectable jobs. One works as a nurse at the Central Hospital, while the other holds a minor managerial position at a large company, yet even so. The clothes I wear are always ill-fitting, the leftovers I eat at home are always cold, they never spare a single thought for me. I used to wonder why they didn't love me at all, even though I was their only daughter. Now I understand. It's because I'm not their biological daughter. Seeing Fiona's impatient expression, I smiled at her. "You're not my real parents, are you?" At first, Fiona's expression was one of confusion, then gradually tinged with impatience. Upon hearing the question I asked next, she froze in exaggerated shock before scolding me sharply. "What nonsense are you spouting, you silly girl? Did I do something wrong by coming to pick you up after school?" But today, she wasn't here specifically to pick me up. She had a meeting with the teacher and just happened to go home with me afterward, probably out of guilt. She glared at me resentfully and quickly walked out of my immediate vicinity. I've been on the receiving end of her glares before, but now I couldn't care less. Watching Fiona's retreating figure, I pinched my own thigh hard. I used all my strength, and the pain brought tears to my eyes instantly. "Wah, Mom, I'm so cold, I'm freezing to death. Am I really your biological child? Why don't you love me at all?" Fiona wanted to leave, but the strange looks from those around her held her back. Even though I wasn't important to her, she especially cared about her own reputation. Moreover, the words, "biological child," had struck a nerve. Forcing her to turn back and come for me, her eyes were filled with anger and unease, yet she forced herself to wear a gentle expression and reached out to pull me in. My voice was neither too loud nor too soft, but it was clear enough for the surrounding onlookers to hear. "But Mom, you're dressed so warmly, yet you always make me wear thin, ill-fitting clothes. I'm really cold." Woo-woo, this wasn't a lie. In the past, I had fantasized about my parents' affection. So I never spoke up about any discomfort or grievances. Afraid of causing trouble for others often leads to being increasingly looked down upon. Although Fiona and Bob White knew their actions had crossed legal boundaries, my past overly accommodating behavior made them completely disregarded. But that will never happen again. In fact, someone had already noticed something was wrong when I burst into tears earlier. Nothing else. The gap between Fiona and me is just too obvious. Though we're mother and daughter, the glamorous Fiona and the drab me standing together don't even seem to belong in the same layer. Fiona wears a warm fur coat with a dark red woolen scarf around her neck. Her whole being exudes a radiant health. Snowflakes from the sky melt before they even touch her skin. But I'm different. Chronic malnutrition has left me as thin and frail as frostbitten scallions, with snowflakes dusting both my shoulders and eyelashes. I know exactly how pitiful I look right now. Ill-fitting school uniform, threadbare sweater lining visible through the collar. It's intentional. I deliberately play this vulnerable role before so many eyes. The surrounding whispers grew louder, and I even heard Fiona's name mentioned among them. "This must be someone we know." A woman with permed hair pushed through the crowd, looking at Fiona and then at me with a surprised expression. Fiona, what's going on here? Isn't this going to be the death of Fiona? She quickly took 2 steps toward me, trying to shield pitiful me from the auntie's view with her own body, but what needed to be seen had already been seen in full. Judging by the tone, the curly-haired auntie must be Fiona's boss. Throughout their conversation, Fiona was nothing but meek and submissive. So this is why you asked for leave today, to come to the child's school, she said, but I have to say, even if the child did something wrong, you can't punish them like this in the middle of winter. As she spoke, the aunt took off her own coat and draped it over me. The warm, fragrant coat finally gave me a sense of reality, and I looked up to thank her. The aunt gave Fiona a disapproving look, and the surrounding crowd joined in with a chorus of criticism. When I finally followed Fiona home, I was still wearing the curly-haired auntie's coat. The coat kept me warm, but my heart felt frozen. A complete stranger could show me kindness. Yet Fiona and Bob White, who had lived with me for 14 years, couldn't see my pain. 14 years. Even raising a pet wouldn't warrant such indifference. I know very well that although Fiona may appear meek and submissive outside, whenever she or Bob White suffers any slight, they will inevitably take it out on me when they get home. Sure enough, after the couple exchanged some whispers, Bob White roughly yanked off the unfamiliar coat I was wearing. Skillfully dodging the man's slap aimed at my face, I said something that immediately made the couple hesitate in shock. Would you hit your own biological son like this too? Bob White's movements froze, while Fiona nearly forgot to breathe. This wasn't the first time I had revealed that I knew the truth. And the couple finally realized the gravity of the situation. Both wore identical expressions of stiffness. It seemed the pair couldn't even be bothered to pretend, or perhaps they simply didn't know how. Although I had just turned 14, I was mistreated at home and ignored at school. Not to mention, I had awakened memories of the original plot, making me far more mature than my peers. Facing the couple's shocked and furious expressions, I appeared remarkably calm. Bob White grabbed my arm with such force that I nearly cried out in pain. How did you know, you wretched girl? His voice startled the uneasy Fiona, who quickly reached out to grab me, her expression and tone fiercely menacing. No matter how you found out, I won't let you stand in Richard's way. Bob White glared down at me, his eyes brimming with ugly hatred. This gaze is both unfamiliar and familiar. Unfamiliar because it's the first time he's displayed it so blatantly in front of me. Yet familiar, because I belatedly realized that every glance he ever gave me concealed this same ferocity. Who cares how she found out? Any sensible person would choose Richard over that damn girl, just to be safe. Don't let this girl out of the house ever again. With just a few words, the couple casually decided my fate. The police will come for you. My words made them pause for a moment. He'll come for Richard too. After these words, the grip of both men tightened once more. I looked up and smiled at them. I was prepared to be imprisoned by you the moment I learned everything. If I'm not free from now on, the police station will receive my report email, and my friends will also help me call the police. Yeah, right. When I knew the plot, I was with Fiona the whole time and couldn't possibly have made these preparations. I don't even have friends who would help me call the police. But making things up, who can't do that? I bet my smiling face must look like a demon from a fairy tale in the eyes of the couple. Otherwise, why would their expressions look so terrible? If you don't want your precious son to get involved, you'd better not touch me. Just listen to what the couple is saying. No one would trade a son for a daughter. What era is this? They knew the baby they switched was a daughter from an upper-class family. When people reach a certain level of wealth, they often stop caring about the gender of their offspring. As long as the child is exceptional, they can still inherit resources. Everyone is moving forward, but this couple remains stuck in outdated beliefs. Reading the original plot, Richard spent his entire life either arrogantly playing the role of a spoiled rich kid or falling in love with some naive, innocent girl, completely useless, isn't he? Only this couple would treat him like a treasure. I spoke without changing my expression. But the couple, unaware, were so shocked by my words that they remained motionless for a long time. I shook off their restraining hands on my own. You'd better be smart about this, and we can all get along peacefully. Your son's fake young master title won't be exposed either. Perhaps the words, fake young master, struck a nerve, as Fiona let out a piercing scream. Richard is no fake young master. I didn't hesitate to expose her. After lying for 14 years, don't deceive yourself too. I know the maturity I displayed wasn't appropriate for my age, and my words made me sound like a villain. but I just couldn't take it anymore. The cold and hard meals, the thin and short clothes, the ever-present scornful looks, I truly can't endure it for another second. I hate these so-called parents, in name only. They made the decision to switch but didn't raise me properly, not even bothering to hide their intentions. Now that I know the truth, they can no longer manipulate me so easily. Reality is different from fiction. In novels, if a supporting female character learns about her identity, she can easily get in touch with her biological parents, but in reality, there are barriers between social classes. All the memories I know are from the plot, and there's not even a mention of contact details like phone numbers in those memories. Not to mention, the white couple has always maintained a good public image. At my age, even if I reported it to the police, would anyone believe me? From what I've seen in the plot, even if I return to the She family now, that couple won't treat me well. Why, you ask? I saw my current appearance clearly through the glass of water on the table: pale skin, dry and brittle hair. Due to prolonged malnutrition, my eyes were dull, and my physique was even more frail compared to my peers. At this age where excellence isn't easily discernible, that couple who valued appearances more and this couple who prioritized gender were no different. I needed to nurture myself to become healthier and more outstanding, to ensure I could live well without relying on anyone else. I picked up the teapot on the table, poured 2 cups of tea, and handed them to Bob White and Fiona. I smiled sweetly at them. I don't mind being part of a family that's praised by outsiders, for now, so let's get along well, okay, Dad, Mom. The water poured from the teacup was cold, almost freezing to hold in winter. But the couple seemed completely oblivious at this moment, gripping their teacups with something close to panic. Tea splashed onto the backs of their hands, yet they only stared at me, just like the way I used to look at them, filled with unease. In short, it's now a contest of who's more willing to go all out. The couple from the White family have their vulnerabilities. They fear their biological son's identity being exposed, their previously good image collapsing, being abandoned by everyone, and losing their jobs, so they are timid and hesitant. But I'm different. I know everything and fear nothing. By the way, though I don't mind playing the role of a loving father and filial child with you, remember, the father must be kind first for the child to be filial. But if you treat me the same as before, I'll really make you lose face in front of your colleagues and neighbors. Actually, there's no need to do anything special, just showing outsiders my overly thin frame and the scars from beatings and abuse. The good image they've carefully crafted for the public would instantly crumble, and they might even struggle to keep their jobs. Perhaps from this moment on, their perception of me changed. From the weak, easy-to-bully little rabbit to a demon clutching their secrets. From this moment, I truly became the villain. But who cares? In my opinion, my grievances are the most important. It seems like I have everything: warm clothes, delicious meals, even the brand new phone I just got is the latest model on the market. But it was impossible to ignore the growing tension in the couple's eyes whenever they looked at me. The moment I was out of their sight, they would suspect me of plotting something terrible against Richard. It was truly an overreaction. I was only 14. Even if I were a villain, there was only so much I could do. A life where you guard against me and I guard against you. Has it lasted what feels like an entire lifetime? The subtle change occurred again when I entered my senior year of high school. 2 new students transferred to our class. The transfer students, 1 boy and 1 girl, both had strikingly outstanding looks. Familiar, very familiar. Where have I seen it before? My hand kept writing the exam paper, with only a tenth of my mind engaged in thinking. It was like a break during problem solving, until the 2 new students began their self-introductions. Turns out only the boy was a transfer student, while the girl had merely changed classes. This school was a prestigious private high school that emphasized survival of the fittest. Class assignments were entirely based on academic performance, but in my class, Class 1, there generally wouldn't be any major changes. My name is Bella. I used to be in Class 3. The pencil I was holding for drafting notes suddenly snapped at its sharpened tip when I heard Bella's self-introduction. I accidentally used a bit too much force. In that case, I simply put down the pen in my hand, propped my face up with one hand, and looked toward the podium. Bella seemed quite shy, her cheeks flushing a lovely shade of pink after just stammering out a single sentence. She lowered her head, glanced tentatively in the direction of her classmates, and then continued to hesitantly utter a few more words. I hope, We can all become good friends." A few scattered claps echoed through the classroom, yet they were quieter than the sound of pen tips touching paper. After all, it was already the final year of high school, the most crucial stage of life, and no one would invest much thought in making friends. Receiving little response, Bella's eyes visibly dimmed, and her voice grew weaker. Lacking confidence, "Please, please take care of me." This time, the response was even less. Bella lowered her head, only to hear a mocking laugh beside her. The young man was handsome, but only I could vaguely detect a resemblance to Bob White in his features. With a smirk at the corner of his lips, he maintained an air of nonchalance. I know exactly what's going on in the mind of this pretentious teenager. At this edgy age, an overly privileged background and good looks can give one the illusion of being invincible. Perhaps it's the villainous mentality at play, but I never hesitate to scrutinize this person who swapped lives with me through a slightly malicious lens. But it's just a thought. I'm petty, but I'm virtuous. While I don't like Bella's overly self-deprecating attitude, I dislike Richard's condescending and mocking demeanor even more. Looking at Bella's anxious and timid face, I just felt a wave of boredom and picked up the pen beside me again. The train of thought for solving the problem had been interrupted halfway. After shifting my gaze, the solution suddenly became clear. Looking at the densely packed solution steps for the final big problem, I only felt an inexplicable sense of relief. In last month's exam, I only managed to solve 1/3 of a similar type of problem, so I can feel that I've improved again. This kind of solid progress brings a deep sense of reassurance. What could possibly be more important than improving oneself? Of course not. I only heard half of Bella's self-introduction, and I didn't catch a single word of Richard's. I know these two people far too well, so well that I can even predict their future life paths, redemption and being redeemed. I'm really sorry, but it seems the premise of Richard's redemption was actually provided by me, the villain. In short, after Richard went to college, his identity as the fake young master was completely exposed. The fall from grace plunged him into an abyss. With all his former friends and relatives turning against him, only Bella, whom he used to look down upon, stayed by his side. Gradually, they developed mutual feelings, and in the end, they reclaimed everything that rightfully belonged to Richard. That's the story. I gave a mental round of applause to this moving and heroic story. Thanks. If it weren't for pinning the blame on me, I might have actually been touched by it. Get this straight. Who exactly took everything from whom? Can't be bothered to explain. Do you really take people for fools? The arrival of the two new students didn't cause much of a stir in the class. In the intense and stressful final year of high school, most students' minds were still focused on their studies, unlike the carefree youth depicted in novels. By the second half of the final year, everyone was focused on themselves, facing one exam after another. There's simply no mental energy left for extracurricular activities. Exchanging a few words while fetching water between classes has become a rare moment of relaxation. Even though Richard is handsome and wealthy, and Bella is adorable and sweet, they didn't receive the star treatment they had imagined. How to put it? It's as if out of the entire class of over 50 people, only Bella and Richard got the script for the male and female leads of a novel. There's an invisible wall between the protagonists and the NPCs in the original plot. The male and female leads initially didn't get along. Richard looked down on Bella for being shy and introverted, while Bella couldn't stand Richard's arrogance and conceit. Although the two didn't openly confront each other, they both mentally gave the other a failing grade. No one knows my true identity, and I have no intention of revealing it voluntarily. In the established storyline, Bella initially had a good relationship with me, but gradually distanced herself after learning that Richard had taken over my identity. Bella befriended me purely out of a sense of shared misfortune. I was originally abused by the couple Bob White while growing up, often going hungry and never having enough to eat. I was always thinner and smaller than my peers and frequently suffered from low blood sugar, causing me to faint. Without proper nutrition, I couldn't focus mentally either. Staying in class 1 was purely the result of extreme perseverance, but my grades hovered at the bottom, just about the same as Bella, who had just transferred into class 1, but that was just the original plot. The moment I confronted my adoptive parents, the plot had already deviated. Afraid that I might pose some threat to Richard, the couple no longer dared to mistreat me in any way. With proper nutrition, I've gradually grown into my looks. I take after my birth mother, whom I've never met. Striking and elegant in appearance, her grades consistently remained in the top 10 of her grade level. Perhaps it's a standard trope in CEO romance novels. the female lead always occupies a lower social status in the relationship. Bella's family could only be considered comfortably middle class, with a younger brother 6 years her junior. The warm family atmosphere is likely what nurtured her into the ray of sunshine, capable of redeeming the male lead. But those who can study at this school either have academic rankings within the province or come from wealthy families, even though they could pursue further studies abroad. In such an environment, despite Bella's hard work, the long-standing sense of inferiority would gradually accumulate over time. To be honest, I don't dislike girls like Bella. Every girl has her own personality. That's just how it is. Bella is introverted and insecure, but these are also her own traits. She's not a bad person at heart, but I don't want to associate with her either, because in the original plot, she also believed that the misfortunes Richard encountered were caused by me. Although it's human nature to favor those closer to you, the two girls had been good friends for quite some time in the original storyline. It's not Richard's fault for not knowing the truth, so how could I, the complete victim, be at fault? In fact, it's simply selfishness. Everyone can be selfish. It's human nature, but one shouldn't be generous at others' expense. My identity has affected their interests, so they hate me and are wary of me, but I also have selfish motives. I am selfish too. Who would want to die? To save myself, I must avoid any connection with these two people for now. The later my identity is exposed, the smoother my plan goes, and the safer I am. But this face, slightly resembling my birth mother's, still caught Richard's attention. I noticed a gentle kick against the back of my seat. Richard's seat was placed behind me, while Bella's seat was diagonally in front of me to the left. I feel like I'm being surrounded by two people. I ignored the somewhat childish movements of the person behind me, but they refused to settle down, kicking my chair with increasing force. When Richard's kicks reached a certain level of intensity, I seized the moment and suddenly stood up. Off balance, Richard toppled over, taking the desk with him. The commotion was so loud that all the classmates, who had been immersed in their own worlds, looked up in the classroom. Richard and I, who had been knocked to the ground, were locked in the gaze of over 50 pairs of eyes. I watched as his pale face turned bright red. "You motherf," he cursed the moment he opened his mouth, proving that despite being raised by the most refined parents for 17 years, he still turned out to be utterly uncultured. "Richard, while everyone else is working hard to improve their grades, you're busy with these childish antics. Don't you find this boring? Or do you think your grades are already good enough to take responsibility for your own future? If you're not going to study, why did your parents go through so much trouble and spend so much money to get you into class 1? Just because they have money to burn, I can't be bothered with you, simply because I refuse to waste my time on an immature man like you." I spoke one sentence after another, my voice clear and loud enough for everyone in the classroom to hear distinctly. The classroom fell into a deathly silence. Richard was left speechless by my words. His eyes brimmed with anger, likely overwhelmed by rage. He stammered for a long time but couldn't utter a single complete sentence. It seems there's also an issue with language expression skills. Your Chinese grades probably aren't that great either, are they? I slightly leaned down and flashed him a smile. Do you think your actions would bother me? No. Someone like you will soon be leaving class 1. You can't cause me any trouble. Richard's grades were certainly not good, at least not ranking well in this school. Otherwise, how could there be an opportunity for the female lead and him to improve together? The original plot was roughly that, in the last month before the college entrance exam, the teacher formed study groups for the students in the class. The purpose is to help classmates progress together. The story follows the male and female leads who, after initial confrontations, reach a consensus to work hard and improve together, ultimately succeeding in getting admitted to prestigious universities. Yes, all within just one short month. Is this scientific? Is this reasonable? Got lucky, huh? Too bad I've never believed in fate. The effort I can feel myself putting in is what's most reliable. High school time is so precious. I don't want to waste it on someone so arrogant. After saying my final words to Richard, I no longer wanted to engage with him. I pulled out my seat and refocused my attention on the test paper. Richard was left alone to bask in the stares from his classmates. About 2 or 3 minutes later, I heard someone behind me curse under their breath, followed by the sound of a desk being righted. In a corner where no one could see, I allowed myself a faint smirk. Now, Richard must have completely forgotten about the resemblance between me and his mother. Not yet, not now. After Bella changed classes, I had no interaction with her, or rather, I didn't have much interaction with anyone else in the class either. I was in class 1 when I first started high school, although I wasn't skinny anymore by then. I had established a cold and irritable persona in class. Unless it was necessary, no one really got close to me. After the whole incident with Richard, even fewer people did, but Richard was gone. During this critical period, no one wants to be friends with a boy immature enough to kick a girl's chair. Richard's face grew darker by the day, but no one was willing to pay him any attention. I was the one who didn't fear him in the slightest, so he turned his attention to someone else. Bella transferred to the same class as him at the same time. Being unfamiliar with everyone else and naturally timid, she became an easy target. Summarized in one sentence, she looks like an easy target, although it's just some childish pranks like pulling her braids or hiding her notebooks. But for a girl with Bella's personality, it feels like the sky is falling. She's too timid to fight back, just pouting her lips in silent grievance, having found something that interested him. Richard even changed his seat, after realizing I wasn't paying attention to him. He sat next to me just to make it easier to bully Bella, who was sitting in front. Watching Bella in front of him getting all flustered, Richard's face lit up with a bright smile. Are these two really destined to be a couple? Is this guy out of his mind? I kicked the desk beside me, causing it to shake, and a pink notebook fell out from the compartment. The notebook hit the floor with a thud, making Bella in front instinctively turn her head. She picked up the notebook as if she had found a treasure, then carefully tucked it into her arms. Her eyes welled up with tears as she glared at Richard, but she didn't dare say anything harsh. You're so annoying. Bella quoted what I had said earlier, but Richard ignored her and just kept staring at me. What are you doing? I stood up with my water cup, glaring at him coldly. Move aside. Richard reluctantly got to his feet, making a small gap for me to pass through. So annoying. I didn't care what he was muttering and pretended not to hear, walking toward the water dispenser with my cup. As I passed by Bella's seat, I felt a gentle tug on my clothes. Thank you. Bella's voice was as soft as a mosquito's buzz, but I didn't stop walking. I pretended not to hear it either. The water level in the cup had just risen halfway when I heard someone calling me at the door. Grass White. Your mom is here. I turned my head to glance at the door and indeed saw Fiona standing there, looking somewhat awkward. Others might not have noticed, but I could clearly see that Fiona was wearing what she considered her most presentable outfit. My gaze involuntarily drifted toward the classroom, as if searching for something. I fastened the water bottle lid with one hand, feeling an inexplicable urge to laugh. Yeah, I'm here. Fiona wasn't here to see me at all. Walking all the way to the deserted hallway, still glancing toward the classroom, Mommy, I called out to her, and the overly intimate address made her shiver visibly. She turned to look at me. You forgot your pen. I brought it for you. She pulled a pen from her pocket and handed it to me. I glanced at the pen in her hand but didn't take it, bluntly calling her out. This pen ran out of ink ages ago. It's been sitting on my desk for over half a month. Why she chose this moment to bring it, both she and I knew the answer all too well. Fiona's hand froze mid-air, her face twisting into a smile even more pitiful than tears. I heard you changed desk mates. I knew exactly what she was worried about, offering a smile that revealed nothing. I know what you're thinking. As long as you don't interfere with what I need to do, I won't do anything to him. Don't worry. As for what I meant by interference, Fiona didn't understand it at that moment. For years seemed to pass in the blink of an eye. Everyone went to college, and some had already entered society. The tension from high school days was gone, and relationships seemed to have become much more harmonious. Class reunions are held every year, with 80% of classmates willing to attend. Richard just returned from abroad this year and has only recently started getting involved in company affairs. After 4 years of polishing, he's become much more composed compared to his high school self. He held a wine glass in his hand, the colorful KTV lights casting on his face, his expression somewhat inscrutable. The topics among his classmates shifted one after another, and somehow, someone mentioned Grass White's name. Hearing that name, he let out a cold snort. Why didn't she come? She was so hot-tempered in high school. How is she now? Still completely inflexible. Hearing his question, someone took a moment to recall. She came to the last gathering, but she declined today's, said she's doing an internship, so busy she can't even catch her breath. Once the conversation started, the students began chattering away, each adding their own comments. Her job is like this. Remember when she was filling out her college applications and had a huge fight with her family? she almost cut ties with them completely, hearing that Grass White wasn't doing well. Richard's slightly furrowed brows relaxed a little. Hasn't she always been like this, wearing a sour face and keeping everyone at arm's length? A born loner. Serves you right. Hearing him say this, a few people exchanged glances, but no one voiced agreement. Someone forced a dry laugh, trying to smooth things over. You can't say that. She's now. His words were cut short as the KTV room door was pushed open. Several uniformed officers walked in. Sorry for the interruption. Routine inspection. Please cooperate, under such circumstances. Who in the room wouldn't comply? The person who had been speaking halfway stood up with a smile. Cooperate, officer. We didn't do anything. His gaze followed the officers coming in and eventually met mine, standing at the very back with a notebook in my arms. The corner of my mouth twitched. I never expected it to be such a coincidence. Everyone else in the private room also saw me, and their faces showed expressions of surprise. Grass White. The master turned his head to glance at me, an acquaintance. My expression remained largely unchanged as I simply nodded. A high school classmate. Today was just a sudden spot check. I'd been so busy following my mentor lately that I'd completely forgotten about the class reunion. But during work, I had no intention of making small talk. I simply focused intently on observing every move of my mentor and the senior officers, jotting down interrogation details that were hard to remember in my notebook. My mentor said that in our line of work, attention to detail is paramount. After the routine questioning, we prepared to move on to the next inspection. Just as I stepped out the door, I collided head-on with someone who was running late. The other person staggered and nearly fell, but I caught them. She lowered her head and apologized. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Grass White. The person approaching was none other than Bella, whom I hadn't seen in 4 years. She seemed noticeably more cheerful than in high school, her face lighting up with an overjoyed smile when she saw me. Long time no see. How have you been all these years? As she spoke, her gaze swept over the uniform I was wearing. The badge on my chest still gleamed under the dim light. I nodded at her. I'm on duty. We'll talk later. The KTV door closed, and Richard, who had abruptly stood up earlier, looked upset again. Is this her internship? The man who had just spoken to him shrugged, a subtle expression crossing his face. Impressive, isn't it? She got into the top police academy in the country. You'd better not go provoking her again. Even last time we went out, she didn't drink alcohol, only tea, and when the gathering ran late, she even escorted the female classmates home. My arrival seemed to flip some subtle switch, as the conversation immediately became all about me. Someone said, you could actually tell she was suited for this line of work back in high school. Just don't know what Grass White's parents were thinking. They absolutely refused to let her apply to the police academy. It was a huge fight, back then, with all that commotion. I have no idea how she managed to get her parents to compromise. With every word they spoke, Richard's expression grew darker. It seemed that compared to his own improvement, my success bothered him more. The kind of bother that carries a negative connotation. I don't care what the stupid and childish male lead is thinking about. As the plot point is about to arrive, I need to hurry and improve myself. According to the original plot, Richard's identity as the fake young master will be exposed during my senior year of college, although there are some deviations from the original plot. It seems certain events are fixed and won't change. Richard and Bella have already started dating. I met the she couple at the hospital. Just as I came out after changing my dressing, I saw the couple standing at the door. The way the couple looked at me was as if they were appraising a commodity, assessing my worth. Over the years, my features had fully developed, and I never slacked off in my training at both school and the police station. The couple seemed barely satisfied, nodding slightly and tilting their chins at me as if granting a favor. Come back with us. No explanation, just that single dry sentence. Those unaware of the circumstances might think this was some new form of kidnapping. I put on a very official smile, one I had learned from my master. No matter who I faced, it always appeared dignified, flawless and impossible to read. Sir and madam, what exactly are you talking about? It's already the 21st century, and kidnapping adults is also illegal. As she spoke, an auntie came over and protectively shielded me behind her. Officer Carl, are these two causing trouble for you? When I first got hospitalized, this auntie was in the same ward as me. 2 weeks ago in the middle of the night, I went on a field assignment with my mentor and rescued 2 girls being harassed by thugs at the entrance of a bar, but 4 or 5 drunk young troublemakers fueled by alcohol, came at my mentor and me with knives. My mentor, a veteran detective with decades of experience, handled the situation effortlessly. However, concerned about the two semi-conscious girls, I hesitated and ended up getting stabbed twice and punched twice. Fortunately, the two girls were unharmed in the end. Despite the intense pain, I gritted my teeth and helped my master subdue the group of troublemakers. By the time my master got me to the hospital, I had already lost quite a bit of blood. I ended up getting over 20 stitches and stayed in the hospital for more than a week. The incident later made it into the local news, and overnight, all the elderly patients sharing my ward knew about it. They started bringing me food every day, their enthusiasm almost overwhelming. I even became something of a spectacle, with patients from other wards coming to gawk at me like I was a panda. It made me feel extremely uncomfortable, so I forced myself to leave the hospital, but because of this, I became a familiar face in the hospital. Seeing the couple acting suspiciously, many people cautiously gathered around them. Over these years, the phrase, "serve the people," has been etched into my very bones. Now, being shielded by the people feels oddly uncomfortable. The she couple clearly hadn't done their homework before coming, though they found the current situation somewhat strange. They had no patience left to continue the argument and reached out to grab me. My eyes flashed as I deftly restrained Sam James's hand. "Sir, if you continue like this, I'll have to charge you with assaulting an officer." Upon hearing the words, assaulting an officer, the couple froze, exchanging bewildered glances. What assaulting an officer? I sneered. These human traffickers nowadays are really ridiculous. Don't they even do any research before kidnapping people? I'm a trainee police officer at H City Police Department, a senior at H City Criminal Police University. My badge number is 52 ******, and I'll officially start working this June. I suspect you're human traffickers involved in kidnapping. Please cooperate and come with me to the police station. The she couple were completely stunned. They had researched Fiona and Bob White's backgrounds before coming. I thought that in such a family environment, this daughter I've never met probably wasn't raised very well, so I didn't continue the investigation. But I never expected things to turn out like this. No matter how rich Sam James is, or how well-connected Rose is among the wealthy wives circle, under the law of the country, everyone is equal. No matter how unwilling the two were, they still had to go to the police station with me. It was said that this couple was suspected of being human traffickers and even dared to target a police officer. To show the seriousness of the matter, two veteran detectives sat across from them. After understanding the full situation, they looked at each other and called me in from outside. "Grass, come in for a moment." Originally, I was chatting with my master in the hallway outside, and he glanced at my medical records a couple of times. Hearing them call me from inside, I frowned and glared. "What's wrong? What happened?" Master and I sat down opposite Sam James and Rose. After hearing the whole story, Master gave me a complicated look and spoke in a tone that could almost be described as cautious. "Grass, what do you think?" As the person involved, I appeared calmer than anyone else. Without a paternity test, there's still no way to clear their suspicion of being child traffickers. Let's follow the procedures first. I'll contact their immediate family members. Both my master and the she couple had a momentary blank expression, clearly not expecting me to react this way. The expressions on the faces of the she couple turned rather unpleasant. What kind of mess is this? At their age, they still had to be contacted as immediate family to pick someone up from the police station. The most dramatic part, the little cop who contacted their immediate family members, or their biological daughter they've never met in this world. This scene, not to mention the she couple being completely baffled. Even I found it somewhat laughable, but actually, it's not too bad. I've spent 21 full years without a father's love or a mother's care, and I've already grown accustomed to it. It's impossible to say there's no hatred, but compared to hatred, there are other more important things in my heart. My faith, my future, are more important than my hatred. I have neither father nor mother, but the senior officers at the police station have all been very kind to me, and I've grown stronger. I don't have parents to protect me, but now I have the ability to protect others. But well, when it's harmless, it's still okay to cause a little trouble for these self-important guys. The one who came to pick up the she couple was the family patriarch, an old man with completely white hair and eyebrows, yet full of vigor, staring at my official smile. He was so angry he could puff out his beard and glare. I deliberately added fuel to the fire. "Grandpa, we're in a society governed by law now. Some illegal methods still need to be changed. These are your own parents. Without them, there would be no you today. I was still laughing. Everything I've achieved is because of the education I received from the country, even without parental guidance. I didn't go astray. I have no parents. My motherland is my only mother. His words left the old man and the couple completely speechless. After seeing them off, I turned around and met my master's beaming face. He patted me on the shoulder. Grass, you've got good awareness. The corner of my mouth twitched. Could you please stop calling me that? It really sounds like you're cursing at me. Grass, come over here and tell me how the follow-up check went. Hearing the commotion between me and my master at the entrance, several heads popped out from the police station, all chattering to ask about the results of my follow-up check. I nodded helplessly and walked inside the door. All right. I'm coming. Smiling, I walked faster and faster, until finally, I strode toward a bright future. A little epilogue. I saw Richard again 2 months after I officially started my job. My mentor was catching drunk drivers in the suburbs and brought back a bunch of young people. Richard spotted me right away. He didn't look too well, and his words were all over the place, though I didn't pay much attention to these things afterward. I still heard bits and pieces, after Richard's identity was exposed. He didn't fare too well. I heard he returned to Fiona and Bob White's side, a decision made by the She family patriarch. The huge drop probably can't be adjusted to in a short while. Bella broke up and got back together with him over a dozen times, their relationship status extremely unstable. The She couple were also severely reprimanded and never came looking for me again after that. None of them came to find me, and Fiona and Bob White had even less face to come looking. I contacted the families of a few young people in a strictly official manner, but Richard came straight at me. He was as inexplicable as a neurotic cow-cat. You must be feeling very smug now. Not at all. How dare you live better than me? I pressed the warm water meant for relief into his palm. Just drink it already. But the other person was ridiculously drunk, still mumbling to themselves. Why? Because I have clear goals and study hard. I've already contacted your family. Drink some hot water to sober up quickly. After a couple sips of hot water, Richard looked slightly more sober. You're doing all this, not to get back at me. Then what's the point? Don't you hate me? I was utterly speechless. Why should I prove the meaning of my efforts by hating you? What good would revenge do for me? The meaning of my efforts is solely for myself, for my beliefs. Richard is such an idiot. I've made it so clear, yet he's still a fool. Aren't you standing before me now just to show off to me? If I weren't wearing this uniform symbolizing justice, I'd probably be cursing right now. Listen carefully, I'll only say this once. If you abide by the law, we'll never see each other again for the rest of our lives. The only reason I'm standing before you now is because of a few words. The fool tilted his head and asked me, what words? Of course, serving the people. Such a simple matter, even a villainess like me can figure it out. How is the male lead acting like such an idiot? No, wait, now that I think about it, I don't seem to qualify as a villainess anymore. No prefix is needed before my name. I am just me, the heroine of my own life. I am grass, yes, the wild grass that no wildfire can burn out, and springs back with the breeze. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. The first day I was found by the Smith family, my brother gave me a husky as a gift. As the 88th generation inheritor of secret arts, I immediately recognized that the husky's body housed the soul of the fake heiress. As long as I live with the husky for 49 days, my body will be taken over by the fake heiress's soul, and I will turn into this husky. The next day, I cheerfully gifted my brother a Scottish fold cat. Brother, if you want to swap fates, you'd better see if you have what it takes, right? Mom and Dad are usually too busy with work to spend time with you, so Big Brother bought you a husky. Promise me you'll take good care of the husky. Big Brother's gentle and affectionate voice whispered in my ear. I tilted my head as I stared at the husky in front of me. Having lived in the mystical arts for 18 years, I had long since mastered all its techniques and secrets. With a single glance, I recognized the soul of the deceased fake heiress residing within the husky. Her eyes were darting about restlessly, looking me up and down, full of disdain and contempt. A few barks, as if to say, do you think Mom and Dad and your brother suddenly called you back for no reason? They just wanted to revive me. Once I successfully swap bodies with you, I'll immediately gouge out your eyeballs. skin you, and stew you into dog meat soup. I turned to my brother and asked where this husky came from. His expression shifted slightly, showing a hint of guilt. Naturally, I bought it from a pet store. What, don't you like it? I nodded gently and said softly, yes, I don't like dogs. Brother was stunned, never expecting me to say this, but this is the first gift I've given you. How could you not cherish my kindness? Our parents overheard from the side. They began to persuade me too. Dogs are humans' best friends. Sarah, why not try getting along with the dog? You might come to see her as family. This husky understands human speech. If you don't believe me, let me show you. Under Dad's commands like sit, stand up, and clap, the husky displayed obedience and agility. Mom added in my ear, see how well behaved she is. Feelings can develop over time. Sarah, Mom and Dad and your brother are just worried you're too lonely. As she spoke, Mom's tears fell. Brother glared at me with resentment. It seems that if I don't accept this dog, I would be defying universal consensus. Mom, Dad, brother, do you really want me to accept this dog? My parents gave a positive answer. My brother even nodded emphatically and made a request to me. Starting today, you will be fully responsible for taking care of her, eating and sleeping together with her. Do you understand? I curled my lips into a smile. How could I not know the purpose behind them making me raise this dog? As long as I coexist with this dog for 7 times 7 days, 49 days. The soul of the fake heiress inside the dog's body will replace mine, resurrect completely through me, and my soul would be sealed within the body of a husky, eternally becoming a dog that only knows how to wag its tail. Thus, not a shred of longing for family remained in my heart. I obediently replied, don't worry, Mom, Dad, and brother, since this is the dog you've given me, I'll definitely eat, live, and take good care of her together. Hearing my voice, the husky barked cheerfully twice. Ugly thing, still don't want to raise me, I'll kill you once we switch bodies. To provide better care for the dog, I took my husky out to buy dog food. We stopped in front of a pet store. I saw the Scottish fold cat lying in the cage. Having an episode, I asked the shop owner about the price. The owner said, Scottish folds are hard to raise. They're delicate and prone to illness. You'd be better off buying another breed, easier to care for and well-behaved. I interrupted the owner, I want this one. How much is it? Seeing my stubbornness, the boss said, 500 then. This cat won't live long. If you buy it, no returns. I nodded, paid the money, and took the cat. Then I found a secluded spot. I opened my senior brother's urn, hand seals, forming the mystic signs, a flash of green light, and the soul of the fake heiress within the husky was sealed into the folded ear cat's body. Another flash of red light, and the senior brother's soul was transferred from the urn into the husky's body. The spell was complete. The Scottish fold cat yowled loudly. What did you do to me? Wasn't I a husky? How did I become a Scottish fold monster? If Mom, Dad, or Big Brother find out what you've done to me, they'll surely kill you. Change me back right now. Change me back right now. I ignored the Scottish fold cat's cries. I reached out to pat the little husky's head. Senior brother, you'll need to endure for 49 more days. Then you can be resurrected through my brother's body, and I'll take you back to the secret arts. Last summer vacation, my senior brother died while saving a drowning child. I searched everywhere for a solution, but couldn't find a way to revive my senior brother. Now, with this husky as a vessel, and by following the soul transfer spell cast on the dog by the evil Taoist priest my parents found, we can bring my senior brother back to life. My senior brother nodded, his eyes filled with sorrow. Sarah, aren't you afraid of disappointing your birth parents and brother by doing this? I smiled faintly and shook my head. They were willing to sacrifice my life to revive the fake heiress. So why should I care if they're disappointed? My senior brother let out a soft sigh but ultimately said nothing. Wait for me to come home, then gave the newly bought Scottish fold to my brother. My brother looked disgusted. I don't like cats. I don't want to keep one. Feeling wronged, I repeated what my brother had just said to me. This is the first gift I've given you. Do you not value my kindness at all? My brother froze, his expression stiffening. I continued to add, my brother gave me a husky, so in principle, I should give you a gift in return. I thought my brother really liked pets. My acting was superb, my eyes even reddening. Seeing this, my parents on the side wanted to persuade me not to force my brother. It seemed they had forgotten how they had forced me not long ago. With tear-filled eyes, I looked at them. They fell silent for a moment. I could only persuade my brother to take in this Scottish fold cat. Helpless, my brother said stiffly, "Fine. I'll take care of this cat, but if it dies under my care, don't blame me," I timidly replied. "I believe Big Brother will take good care of the little kitten." Meow meow meow. A few kitten cries made Big Brother frown, but I heard the fake heiress say, "Humph, I'm definitely telling Mom and Dad and Big Brother what you did to me. Mom and Dad and Big Brother won't let you or that dog of yours get away with this. Just wait. You're dead." She was all claws and teeth, practically itching to scratch my face, but at this very moment, she was in her brother's hands. Her brother found her meowing annoying. He reached out and slapped her on the forehead. "What are you yelling for? Be quiet." The blow was heavy. It directly made the fake heiress burst into tears. I smiled, then led the husky back to the room. The door wasn't closed, and I could hear my brother's complaints from outside. "Since when do I know how to raise a cat, and such a half-dead one at that? Can't we just throw it away?" Dad sighed lightly. "Whether you want to or not, you have to keep it. There are still 49 days left. You and your sister must get along well." Mom also spoke earnestly. "Yes, remember what's truly important. It's just a cat. Don't let it interfere with the big picture." The older brother reluctantly agreed. "Fine, I'll keep it if I must, but I really hate cats. Their meowing is so annoying." Despite hearing her brother say this, the fake heiress continued to meow, delusionally trying to tell her parents and brother that her soul had been swapped with mine. What a pity. Her parents and brother had never studied any witchcraft or sorcery in secret arts. They couldn't possibly understand what a cat's meows were trying to say. As her brother's slaps landed on the fake heiress one after another, the fake heiress finally gave up resisting. In fact, it took just one night. The fake heiress developed a stress response toward her brother, blood in stool and urine, clearly frightened into illness. "Dad, help me, my brother has a sexual fetish. He won't even spare a cat." "Mom, I don't want to sleep with brother anymore." Woo-woo, the fake heiress took advantage of when her brother went to school. Meow 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 over and over again. She hoped her parents would hear her cries for help. But Dad was hard of hearing. Mom just thought the Scottish fold was in heat. So when my brother and I came back from school, we heard Mom say, "This cat seems to be in heat. She's been meowing all day. It's so annoying. If you have time, take her to get spayed. Otherwise we'll just spend the whole weekend listening to her meows." The fake heiress heard her mother's words. She trembled all over in fear, and immediately shut her mouth. Meanwhile, her brother said with a wicked grin, "Why neuter? Let's breed it instead. I've never seen a pregnant cat before, and besides, the kittens can be sold for money." The fake heiress swallowed hard. Her soft body stiffened completely, holding the leash of the husky beside them. I chimed in with my brother's suggestion. "Brother makes a good point. Since I need to walk the dog anyway, I'll go with you to breed the cat." Brother was in a great mood today after winning his school's basketball game. He surprisingly didn't reject my proposal. He took the money and went with me to the pet store. Upon arrival, my brother explained our purpose to the shop owner, who immediately brought out several male cats. My brother inquired about the breeding fee. The boss said, "How would you like to breed? We can do artificial insemination or natural mating." The brother got curious. "Cats can have artificial insemination." The boss replied, "Of course, but it's more expensive. We usually recommend natural mating to customers. It's more economical. Just $50 per session is enough." The brother laughed. "Ha. Cats coming out to breed is like going to a nightclub for escorts. $50 isn't expensive, so let's get her bred 10 times then." The fake heiress tensed up nervously. Her eyes widened, filled with disbelief, holding the leash of the husky. I also felt slightly cruel, but even more cruelty was yet to come. The boss said one mating session takes about 5 minutes. So 10 sessions would probably take 5 or 6 days. Why does it take so long? Cats get exhausted just like humans do, so said the boss. The brother threw out $500. Who told you to pair her with just one cat? Now go find 10 male cats and lock them all in a cage together. I don't have time to bring her here every day for mating, the boss added, but there's no guarantee the mating will be successful. The brother said it didn't matter. "I'm only here because her constant heat cries are giving my mom a headache." My brother looked at me and said, "You won't blame me for breeding the cats like this, will you?" I gave a faint smile and shook my head. "Of course not, they're your cats, so it's entirely up to you." The boss glanced at the folded ear cat, then he glanced at my brother, who was wealthy and influential. He agreed immediately. Then I saw the fake heiress screaming and howling frantically. Struggling desperately to escape, my brother heard the fake heiress's cries but paid no attention. Look, this cat can't wait. Her mating calls are so shrill. After that, the pet shop owner threw the fake heiress into a cage with a group of male cats. To avoid disturbing them, the owner deliberately drew a small curtain. We only heard a commotion inside. Meanwhile, my brother wasn't idle either. He took another sum of money and picked out a bunch of dog treats at the pet store, whatever jerky, sausages, freeze-dried treats, whatever's most expensive, that's what he buys. While feeding the husky, my brother couldn't help but stroke its fur and say, "Look at you, so well behaved. That silly cat can't compare to you at all." I sat to the side, quietly watching the husky enjoy its feast, but it also made her ears itch when she heard the voice of the fake heiress. Behind the small curtain, the fake heiress was wailing in agony, "Let me out. Help, help, Mom and Dad, help, brother's gone mad. Woo woo, don't come any closer, I don't want it anymore. Stinky cat, get away, I'm not in heat, I'm not." Woo woo. 1 hour later, Big Brother brought the Scottish fold cat home. The cat nestled in its brother's arms, as if it had lost its soul. Its entire body was stiff, rigid like a corpse. Returning home, the food was already cooked. The brother threw the cat onto the cat tree. He sat himself down at the dining table. "I just had the cat bred. In a few days, she might give birth to a litter of kittens. I can give them away or sell them then. I heard cats of her breed fetch a good price." Mom brought out the steak and shrimp from the kitchen. He glanced at the cat quietly perched on the cat tree. Then he smiled and said, "She's quiet now after mating. Seems very satisfied being serviced by the tomcat." My brother glanced at me and deliberately remarked, "Exactly. Some cats are just like people, born cheap." He was subtly mocking me. I ignored him, eyes fixed on the lavish spread of food on the table, waiting for Mom's signal to start. I leisurely began to enjoy the feast. My brother scoffed coldly, "Your dog hasn't eaten yet, and you're already digging in first." I replied innocently, "Brother already fed the dog lots of snacks earlier. He probably isn't hungry anymore." My brother gave me a sidelong glance. Huskies have huge appetites. That little bit would barely be a snack for the dog. With that, my brother placed his own portion of steak and shrimp into the dog's bowl. He patted the husky's head affectionately and said, "Go ahead, eat." The dog sniffed at the food in the bowl. "It's so delicious, it's intoxicating." Then it sticks out its tongue and devours everything in a whirlwind. Seeing the husky eat so happily, Mom and Dad watched with great joy. They all gave the steak from their plates to the husky. Mom also said with a hint of self-reproach, "It's my fault. I forgot that dogs have big appetites. Next time, I'll make more. No one should go hungry, especially not the dog." Meanwhile, the fake heiress, who had been crouching on the cat tree, couldn't resist coming over after catching a whiff of the delicious aroma. She quietly crept up to Mom and licked her ankle. After catching Mom's attention, the eyes gazed at her pitifully, as if begging, "Mom, I haven't eaten for 2 days. I just suffered a major energy loss and desperately need nourishment, Mom." "It's Rita." Woo woo. 2 meows sounded, making Mom frown. Seeing this, brother stretched out his leg and kicked the cat's butt. Then, he casually threw some gnawed bones onto the ground. "Eat, don't say I mistreat you." The cat meowed pitifully, crying. Mom, Dad, and brother remained indifferent. They even added insult to injury by saying, "These days cats are so picky. They even turn up their noses at bones we've gnawed on. If we keep raising it like this, it'll surely starve to death in no time. If it dies, it dies." I never liked cats anyway. I kept my head down and continued eating, not a word, pretended not to hear. In the blink of an eye, 20 days had passed. The fake heiress's belly was visibly growing day by day. Her brother took the fake heiress for an ultrasound. They discovered she was carrying 8 kittens in her belly. Her brother was overjoyed, posted on Moments, planning to sell the fake heiress's kitten. The fake heiress curled up on the cat tree, stroking her belly, on the verge of tears. During this time, she had thought about resisting. She once tried to scratch my face in my room, but because my senior brother protected me, she always ended up getting hurt. She attempted to write by stepping on plum blossom prints. She told her parents and brother the whole truth, but her brother saw that she could recognize characters. He immediately took her to school, showing off to classmates, not paying the slightest attention to the words she wrote. "I am Rita, The fake heiress was tormented beyond recognition. She decided to run away from home, but it was a frail pregnant cat. Outside, there were countless feral cats wanting to assault her. Feral cats are called feral precisely because their behavior is savage enough. Those cats were nothing like the well-mannered felines from pet stores. The fake heiress had only run away from home for one night, yet she returned covered in blood. When taken to the veterinary hospital, the vet said, "The tearing is severe. A cesarean section is necessary," the brother said. "Then let's do the C-section." The vet handed the brother a long list of fees. The brother flipped to the final amount, 100,000 yuan. Even a human C-section at the hospital doesn't cost this much. There's no way. Pets don't have health insurance, and the surgery is quite complex. If we don't perform the C-section now, the kittens probably won't survive. We might even have to remove the uterus, which would be extremely harmful to the cat. Since you've chosen to keep her, you should take responsibility for her, shouldn't you? The doctors and nurses at the pet hospital all started with that whole animal protection spiel as soon as they opened their mouths, but my brother wasn't about to be guilt-tripped. He just casually searched online. The doctor prescribed abortion pills for the cat at 5 yuan per pill. There are 8 kittens in total, so I'll feed you 8 pills. Have a good abortion and don't cause me any more trouble. Why is raising a single cat so expensive? I looked at the fake heiress's half-dead eyes, feeling somewhat uneasy. I reminded my brother, the instructions say this medicine should be given in small, frequent doses. Feeding her 8 pills at once might make her die. The last word hadn't even been spoken. My brother cut me off. "What? Is this my cat or yours? Fine, you take care of it then. Should I just stop caring?" I swallowed slightly, never spoke again, just watched helplessly as the fake heiress was force-fed 8 abortion pills by my brother. That night, the Scottish fold kept whimpering faintly, "Help me, who can save me? My brother is practically a devil. If I die, I will curse this family. I will avenge my child. I will avenge myself." Night after night. The fake heiress actually survived through sheer willpower. Those 8 kittens that had already taken shape were buried by the fake heiress in the garden downstairs. She cried for a long time, crying until her eyes were nearly blind. Her brother still thought she was too noisy, opening her mouth only to hear them talk about breeding her again. The fake heiress shuddered violently at those 2 words. I dare not make a sound carelessly anymore. Just when I thought the days would pass uneventfully until the end of these 49 days, suddenly, my senior brother went mad. He turned the house upside down. Everything that could be smashed was completely destroyed, all because he heard our parents wanted to give me away to a 50-year-old wealthy businessman to secure the company's project. Mom's cherished skincare products were all filled with husky urine. Dad's antique vase was full of husky poop. My brother's favorite basketball shoes and figurines were not spared either. Under the Huskies' rampage, it caused quite a bit of loss for my parents. My parents and brother were heartbroken over those items, but I'm even more worried about whether the husky has rabies. They rushed to take the husky to various pet hospitals for checkups. After the expensive medical fees, they spent over 200,000 yuan. My brother still felt the checkup wasn't thorough enough. Until we visited the most renowned pet hospital in Kyoto to see a specialist. The specialist said, during a husky's growth and development, they can go through a rebellious phase. Just spend more time with your dog, show it more love, and let affection transform its behavior. Everything will gradually improve. My parents and brother finally breathed a sigh of relief. At the same time, they spontaneously began making associations. The rebellious phase in dogs is a growth issue. Rita is inside the dog's body and must be suffering mental torment. Yes, we must be even more patient, make more delicious food for the dog, keep the dog happy, and make Rita's soul more comfortable. Thus, I saw boxes upon boxes of dog snacks being brought into the house. One pile after another of dog toys keeps arriving at home. Food, drinks, and toys all meet the highest standards for dogs. Rita, just hold on a little longer, and you'll be revived as a human, wherever you want to go play. Mom, Dad, and your brother will take you there. As for that Sarah Smith, once she turns into a dog, we'll stew her, eat her meat. The fake heiress curled up on her little shelf, watching the husky enjoy delicious food and drinks, and seeing her parents and brother play fetch and frisbee with the husky on the lawn. Her eyes had lost all their light. Occasional low moans were nothing but curses. If I can be revived, I will make sure you suffer everything I've endured. Great cat god, I beg you. Please help me. I don't want to live like this anymore. But but the fake heiress probably doesn't know. Making a contract with the cat deity comes with a price. Under the careful care of parents and elder brother, the husky finally calmed down for a while, until the arrival of the 50th day. The husky has gone crazy again. It started barking wildly, began spinning and jumping madly around the house. I looked at my brother, whose body was now possessed by senior brother's soul. His eyes were tender and affectionate, just like the first time I saw my senior brother. Senior brother has finally returned. I hugged my senior brother. Tears flowed uncontrollably. My father and mother were also deeply moved. Rita, you've suffered so much during this time. From now on, our family must always stay well together. My parents thought Rita Smith's soul had taken over my body. They even believed that, at this very moment, my soul was inside the husky's body. So, when the husky started barking wildly, my parents didn't hold back with him anymore. Dad picked up the broom and struck the husky with it. Mom didn't hesitate to lock the husky in the cage, depriving it of its freedom. The husky widened its eyes, completely bewildered, filled with shock. Mom, Dad, I'm your son. How did I turn into a dog? What on earth is going on? What's happening? He kept shouting repeatedly. Mom and Dad didn't have a shred of patience. A stick hit him right on the nose. The husky writhed in pain all over. It was the fake rich girl nearby who reminded the husky to stop struggling. After a secretive conversation between the cat and dog, the husky finally realized the soul inside the Scottish fold was Rita Smith, his own little sister. But what good did it do now? A dumb dog, a dying cat. How dare you fight against me and my senior brother? This is the princess dress you've always wanted. The crown your father bid for you at the auction house. Put them on. My little princess, I wore the dress and jewelry worth millions that my parents gave me. I deliberately walked up to the husky and the Scottish fold cat. I spun around fiercely a few times. The husky opened its mouth to bite me. The Scottish fold cat also puffed up its fur. But under Mom's stick, both the cat and the dog could only seethe in silence. Rita, would you like to eat dog meat? Mom will stew it for dinner tonight. Okay. Mom asked me. Dad also said, now that I see this dog, I feel really uncomfortable. Let's just kill it. We must eliminate the root of the problem. My senior brother and I had no objections to this. The husky was so scared that it collapsed in its cage. At this moment, the fake heiress couldn't help but feel a bit of schadenfreude. How you treated me before is now coming back to you. LOL. How can someone be as stupid as you? I wrote, I am Rita, on the paper. How could you completely ignore my words? The husky cried. Extremely aggrieved and pitiful. I didn't expect Sarah Smith to know sorcery. I also didn't expect you to turn into a cat. What should I do? I'm about to die. Someone save me. Why isn't eating dog meat illegal? The fake heiress sneered. Just wait. Tonight I'll possess Mom's body. Don't worry, you won't die. The husky was shocked again. What? Possess Mom? Then what happens to Mom? Does she turn into a cat? The fake heiress pouted. Otherwise, what else can you do? Only by possessing Mom can I save your life and keep Mom alive too, the husky asked again. Then what do you plan to do after you become Mom? The fake heiress narrowed her eyes. Dad probably won't believe me easily. Once I become Mom, I'll go find that evil sorcerer who knows the forbidden arts and have him help me resolve our family's crisis. I was watering the flowers nearby. The senior brother is loosening the soil in the flower pot. Just now, the conversation between the husky and the Scottish fold cat all entered our ears. We exchanged a knowing smile. The decision had already been made in my heart. Nighttime. The cat deity arrived as scheduled. The fake heiress was enlightened by the cat deity's guidance, and swapped bodies with her sleeping mother. The next morning, the mother, now inhabited by Rita Smith's soul, bought the best cat and dog food to feed the husky and the Scottish fold. Presumably, while the whole family was sound asleep, Rita Smith had already shared all the events of this period with her mother, who had transformed into a cat, so the Scottish fold cat pounced on me to scratch me as soon as it saw me. The husky was also let out of its cage, baring its teeth and trying to bite me. Seeing this, my father shielded me behind him. With one swing of a stick, he knocked the husky to the ground. With another kick, the frail Scottish fold cat was sent flying. Dad couldn't help but scold Mom. What are you doing? Didn't we agree to slaughter the dog today for stew? Why did you let it out again? This damn dog is vicious. If you let it out, it'll definitely hurt Rita. And that cat, always muttering and whispering to the dog. Who knows what they're scheming? It's downright creepy. Rita Smith, now inhabiting her mother's body, gritted her teeth. Because I had once performed secret mystical arts in front of her, so, she deeply felt that she and her father were no match for me. Besides, I had a mysterious senior brother by my side. Rita Smith held back her anger. After saying a few kind words to her father, I took the husky for a walk, held the Scottish fold in my arms, and headed towards the secret technique. My senior brother and I exchanged glances. Subsequently, I said to my dad, "Dad, don't you think Mom is acting a bit strange?" Dad was taken aback. "This morning, she did seem a little odd," the senior brother added. "There's one thing I've never told Dad, and I still don't know whether I should bring it up now." Dad sensed something was off. "What is it? Just say it, I'm your father. What could there be that I shouldn't know?" The senior brother hesitated. "Dad, do you remember the dark path Mom sought through esoteric arts? That Taoist priest. He didn't care for smoke or wine, nor for money. But he had a strong appetite for women." Dad's eyes widened in shock. What are you implying?" the senior brother said mysteriously. "Mom might be having an affair." Dad's face instantly turned green. The secret arts dojo. The heretic gazed at Mom's youthful body with drooling desire. "Ms. Huang, what is it that you seek this time?" Rita Smith explained her purpose for coming. She then showed the cat and dog to the dark practitioner. The dark practitioner began to calculate with his fingers. Her brows furrowed deeply. This is quite troublesome." Rita Smith took out 3 million in cash. The wicked man's eyes flickered repeatedly. "It's not about the money, it's just that I can't bring myself to do something so immoral." Before the villain could finish speaking, Rita Smith started taking off her clothes. "Enough talk. I know your rules. Hurry up and get it over with. Once it's done, free my brother and mother from those cat and dog bodies. She has encountered so many tomcats and strays. She long since stopped caring about this little bit of chastity." The wicked path was practically drooling, and outside the door, Dad tried several times to rush in, but my senior brother and I held him back. "Don't rush, Dad, don't rush. If we go in now, we won't catch them in the act. Let's wait a little longer." It was a critical moment. Dad rushed in with his live-streaming phone. He slapped Rita Smith across the face, exposing her to the camera. Rita Smith was startled, and so were the cat and dog. Just as Dad was about to slap Rita Smith again, the dog bit Dad's leg in one go. The cat scratched Dad's face, leaving marks. Dad grabbed Rita Smith, refusing to let her leave no matter what. While live streaming, he kept insulting his wife. "That shameless woman, living too comfortably for too long, even dares to lay hands on a Taoist priest, cheating on me. I'll ruin your reputation. I'll make sure you die a horrible death, stupid cat. Get lost, damn dog." Tired of living, the two of them, along with a cat and a dog, were tangled together in a fight. They were locked in a fierce struggle, determined to fight to the death. Rita Smith's mind worked quickly, and she hurriedly revealed the truth. "Dad, I'm the real Rita. Brother is in the dog's body, and Mom is in the cat's body. You've been tricked." Dad was already consumed by rage and refused to listen to Rita Smith's words. "I was fooled by you, you bitch. You kept saying you loved me, but ended up developing feelings after sleeping with this Taoist priest. Once wasn't enough, and now you want to cheat on me again. So this is how it feels." About what happened between Mom and that evil Taoist priest before, Dad actually knew about it. "Dad, when I was 3 years old, you had an affair with your secretary. You were fooling around in the office, and I caught you. You said this would be our secret for life and told me not to tell anyone. Do you still remember that?" Dad was taken aback. His expression changed. "When I was 5, you had an affair with my kindergarten teacher for a while. That teacher even wanted to become my stepmother. Have you forgotten?" Dad was shocked again. The hands gripping Rita Smith were released. "When I was 8 years old, Mom hired a piano tutor for me. Do you also not remember you and the piano teacher fooling around in my room?" These were all secrets between Dad and Rita Smith. Rita Smith had always helped Dad keep these secrets well hidden. If it weren't absolutely necessary today, Rita Smith might never have spoken these words in her lifetime, but there's no other way. She simply couldn't find a solution to the current family chaos anymore. The Scottish fold cat was stunned upon hearing this. The husky also let out a sigh. "Are you really Rita? It's really me." Rita Smith also told her father about the cat and the dog. The father looked at the Scottish fold cat, which he had just kicked several times, and his heart ached so much that tears were about to fall. But the Scottish fold cat, upon hearing the news of the father's affair, had all its fur standing on end. furious and crying with snot and tears, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry. My dear wife, I've made you suffer." The husky also snuggled up to Dad. The family of four was finally reunited, but they seemed to have forgotten one thing. At this very moment, it was being live-streamed on the phone. Damn, this is so intense. Wife cheats with advisor, husband cheats with every woman he meets. No, 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 the relationships are all messed up now. The daughter is the wife is a cat, and the son is a dog. Ha 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 ha, is this a movie or for real? It's unclear about cats and dogs, but this man and woman are indeed the Smith couple. How wild they played. This is probably the most interesting scandal of the year. That day, the scandal of the Smith group couple made it to the trending searches. The number of related topics reached several thousand. Many mistresses were exposed. They were subjected to doxing and cyberbullying, of course. The dark histories of the two children from the Smith family were also exposed. Their son is also a troublemaker, constantly involved in school bullying. He thinks he's rich and handsome, toying with the emotions of many girls. His sister is no saint either, pretending to be an innocent young beauty, but in reality, she's a queen of the sea, like parents, like daughter. The most ridiculous part is that the Smith family's daughter isn't even David Smith's biological child. His wife plays around outside too, being a super VIP at various nightclubs with membership starting at $1 million, keeping a bunch of young, attractive men around. The more you dig, the more you find. The whole internet is searching for dirt on this family. Later on, it didn't even matter if it was true or false. The more bizarre the story, the higher the click rate. Overnight, former partners who once collaborated with the Smith family have now terminated their contracts with the Smith Corporation. David Smith is deeply mired in scandal, unable to extricate himself, facing the relentless media coverage. Rita Smith wants her father to pull himself together and quickly turns to unorthodox methods to save her mother and brother. Unfortunately, David Smith only wanted to confirm whether his child was truly his own. He plucked hairs from both me and our senior brother to conduct a DNA test. The results turned out exactly as the online rumors had claimed. David Smith showed the results to Rita Smith, who frowned and said, "I was never your biological child to begin with. Why show me this? Does our bond really need blood ties to sustain it?" David Smith sneered. "Right, the relationship between you and me doesn't need blood ties to sustain it, but the relationship between me and your mother does require this blood proof." David Smith stood up. He grabbed the Scottish fold cat in one swift motion. "True, I'm not clean, but I'm a man. As a woman, as the woman I deeply love. How could you do something so disloyal to me? This is truly your fault." The Scottish fold cat bared its claws and refused to admit defeat, meowing loudly. "David Smith, you were the one who wronged me first. How dare you accuse me? Look at your own beer belly and athlete's foot. Why should I remain chaste for you, you piece of trash, you idiot?" But David Smith couldn't understand the cat's cries at all. He grabbed the cat by its neck and threw it directly into the stray cat gathering area outside the dojo. "Since you're so promiscuous, I'll grant your wish." The Scottish fold struggled to break free. Unfortunately, the stray cat was too aggressive and wouldn't tolerate any resistance. The husky wanted to save the Scottish fold, but was held back by its owner. Soon after, the aroma of dog meat wafted from the dojo. I saw my father sitting alone under the moonlight, taking bites of meat and sips of wine, venting his inner discontent. Rita Smith held the already tortured to death cat and the dog's skin stripped of its meat, crying her heart out. At this moment, the cat god arrived. "According to the cat contract, it's time for you to repay me." Rita Smith had no other choice but to offer her own soul, allowing the cat god to enter her mother's body, the bloodthirsty cat deity. Yet within the dojo, many heretics indulged in wine and meat. That very night, the dojo was annihilated, including the father. All 125 members of the cult died from excessive blood loss. The police investigation yielded no substantial leads. Ultimately, it could only be classified as an unsolved case. Before the Smith family's stocks plummeted, my senior brother and I sold all of Smith's stocks. We also liquidated all the Smith family's assets, with immense wealth in our pockets. We began traveling the world. We specifically sought out dark sorcery and evil paths, punishing the wicked and eliminating evil, upholding peace in the world. After hearing the two stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.